Hello, Mantas. This is Dimitris calling from MetalKaoz in Chicago. Thank you for accepting this invitation. How are you?
I'm very, very well, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on the program. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
And it's fun. It's funny. It's interesting because my first question relates to your t-shirt.
Ah,
right.
well, yeah, fire away.
I don't know what to ask. I mean, I saw you posted a song that you recorded 2 years ago.
Yeah.
For fans, it means a lot losing someone like that. But for a musician too, how different are those feelings?
Oh, I mean, everybody. I mean, Ace is on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
It's I've got this aces everywhere. This is my studio. Aces everywhere. Right down to the little bobblehead ace on the top of the speakers and stuff. And I remember opening Facebook just to have a look around and seeing, that they were saying that he was on life support, and I was like, oh, no, 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 oh. And that's when I posted the picture of him saying, please, not Ace, and I just stayed on, just refreshing and scrolling all night. And then eventually the news came through. They had passed away. And quite honestly, I mean, we don't want to lose any of our, fellow musicians or our peers or anything like that. But, there's one other person has hit me really hard, and that was Gary Moore, and it was I vividly remember that was a Sunday morning. I was still in England at the time. I was doing a thing called Rock School, which was like tuition for kids. I was at the community centre in this little town called Morpeth in the northeast of England. I was just setting the place up, waiting for the other tutors. And the caretaker came in and he said, "Oh, you're a guitarist." And I went, "Yeah, yeah." Uh-huh. And he says, "Oh, you might know this guy." I went, "Oh, who's this then?" And I was just thinking, "Oh, here we go. It's one of his friends or something." And he pulled his phone out. He says, "Oh, I've never heard of him," but he went on. He went, "Yeah, Gary Moore." I went, "Oh, yeah, Gary Moore." Yeah, yeah. He says, "Oh, he died," and that my heart just sank, because I'm a huge, 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 huge Gary Moore fan. And the same thing with Ace, and I mean everybody knows my story about seeing KK Downing and saying that was the moment that defined for me being in a band and saying I want to do that, so Jesus, KK, stay on this earth because it's not going to be good. But Ace, oh, I just don't know what to say. I mean, he means so much to so many people. Particularly, I know everybody, fans and other peers and musicians alike, but particularly to like us guitarists, I mean, the little bluesy licks and the bends and that little run that he does in Love Gun. I've used them over and over and over throughout my career. I mean, I've always said that. When I analysed the early Venom songs, there was a lot of fast Eddie Clarke in there. That clanging Motorhead down, down, digga, digga, down, down, digga, down, that kind of rhythm. And I've got to appreciate, like, Fast Eddie for that. But, listening to Ace, I mean, everybody's heard the stories about him, I suppose, and all this kind of stuff. And as I said in the little post that I did, he was a survivor. He was one of rock's survivors, And to have him leave us in this way it's heartbreaking. It really is. I mean, you don't want to see them leave in any way, shape, or form. But to think we've lost him like that is like, oh God. When it and then you read about other people who knew him really well and who were messaging him and texting him and not getting the replies back and things. And then I didn't realize, I don't know how true this is because you know what social media is like, but
Oh yeah.
I read somewhere that he did he had had a second fall, which was more severe than the first. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's actually been confirmed. And I mean, we don't know how severe the first fall was. You know, did he hit his head, or there must have been some kind of head trauma to have a bleed on the brain. It's I don't know. Like I say, it's really knocked me back. This one, you know, it's really hit. It really hit hard. You
Right,
know,
right. And from the fans' perspective, we have this illusion that because we have the music in our stereos on the vinyls, that these guys will live forever. But
mhm.
newsflash, no. Everybody grows old and everybody has issues. And you had some tough scares of your own, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, 2018, I had a massive heart attack.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was clinically dead in the back of an ambulance at the roadside for just over 5 minutes. And my partner, Anita, she witnessed the whole thing. Um, and I mean, you know, that was I'm gonna say this, and it was my stupidity and being too, I suppose, gung ho and I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think it's particular of working class northeast, you know, from Newcastle, my generation, you know, like, you know, you've got a pain, it's like, oh, I'm okay, don't
Yeah.
worry about that, that's okay, you know. And I had been getting chest pains for a long time, and I remember an American tour where I had pains every night on stage, every night. The first few songs I was in fucking agony. And then we flew to Germany straight from America. I think we did 30 shows with no days off, and I flew straight to Germany. We did a German festival, and I can remember standing behind the stack, and the house lights went down. Ladies and gentlemen, Venom, blah blah blah, and I just dropped to my knees as the intro tape was playing, and the pain was just unreal. And I got myself up, went out on stage. The pain subsided, luckily. Then played the show, and then we then went to Australia, New Zealand, Tasmania, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, and then we did all of Europe. And I think we probably had about 2 days off, which were travel days in a 7.5 week period.
Oh, geez.
Got back from that tour, and I mean, I was experiencing the pains all on that tour as well. I was putting it down to indigestion, heartburn,
Mm-hmm.
and taking all this indigestion medication. Um, and then I got home and obviously took some rest. And I remember on a Sunday evening, I was standing out in the garden, just looking around the garden, watching the cats and stuff, and then Monday afternoon, I was dead. And then, obviously, I had the double bypass. I was basically kept alive between two hospitals, machines and medication. And then I was transferred down to Lisbon. I had the double bypass. And then I was fine after that. But then 6 years later, 2024, I was just literally in the back garden, and I was hanging some lights, little solar lights on a pergola thing that we've got. And I got the same pain. I went up to the house and I sat down. The pain sort of went away a little bit. And then 2 minutes later, bang, that was it. Anita called the ambulance. Two ambulances arrived, one with paramedics, one with a doctor. They had me on the sofa in the house, wired up to the machine, confirmed it was a heart attack, and then I was blue lighted straight back to cardiac intensive care. That was 6 years later. And then down to Lisbon again, and I've ended up with two stents in the left hand side and a double bypass across the right hand side.
Oh my goodness.
But it's family history. It's genetics. I spoke to. I've seen so many people because I've always been a gym rat, and I've been into my bodybuilding and I've been into martial arts all my life. It's like, oh yeah, he was taking steroids. No, fuck off. I didn't take fucking steroids. I was a personal trainer for 19 years. I had my own gym, my own dojo, and I trained and trained and trained. My diet was always healthy. I've been in the gym since I was 10 years old. And yes, I did smoke cigarettes on and off. I was never a heavy smoker. I obviously do not smoke at all now. I quit for 15 years and then I went back to it when my mother was ill, just for the stress. Um, but the doctor, the cardiologist said to me, he says, you're one of those individuals who could be in the gym 24/7. He says, you could go vegan. And he says, he says, your body manufactures vast quantities of LDL cholesterol,
Oh,
which
okay.
is,
Okay.
that's the bad shit.
Right.
The HDL should be here and the LDL should be there.
Right.
I was the opposite way around,
Yeah.
So obviously statins to control that. My father had a massive heart attack, which took him straight away at the age of 49. And my grandfather had about 3 heart attacks previous to that. So it's in the family history, you
Yeah,
know.
I don't know why you need to explain yourself that you're not taking a steroids or anything like that, man. You know better than me that online stuff and the social
Oh,
media, it's not social at all. It's just being being evil
it,
and mean. So
what I always say now is like, with these people, it's like, look, get back in your mom's basement. There's your fucking frozen microwave pizza. Play your video games now.
yeah,
Shut the fuck up, because
yes.
these people know nothing. They're flying monkeys. That's all they are. They know fuck all. Oh, I know this. I know that. I know why this happened. No, you fucking don't. All the thing, like, me and Abaddon reuniting, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. It's like, yeah, that was all planned. No, it fucking wasn't. Yeah, get Cronos back in the band. Yeah, easier said than done. Fuck all. It's like, so shut the fuck up. Unless you were there, unless you've walked in my shoes, shut the fuck up. It's as simple as that. I'm 64-year-old and I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely tired of these people who've got this opinion. Everybody, yes, have an opinion,
No, no,
but
it's
don't
not
say
only an
I know
opinion.
this.
It's not only an opinion. People seem to know stuff. When you have three people arguing or fighting, there is no way to know the truth. Everybody will have their own truths, right?
Well, one of the things that I've always said is, when people say, "Oh, just get yourselves back together" and all that, it's like, right, okay, right. Now, I'll tell you right now that for 2026, right, the 45th anniversary of Welcome to Hell, Cronos has been invited.
Really?
He is invited by me. He was invited by the lawyers in the court case. His answer was, "It's not worth my time." That was his answer, right? Now, what I say to people now is with this, right, fair enough. Everybody wants to see their favorite members back together, right? We know that. And oh yeah, just travel separate, just go in separate hotels. We've done all that. We've done that. We did it on the first reunion. Right. Okay. Think of the most toxic relationship you've ever been involved in. How it made you feel. Now, at your age now, invite it back into your life.
There is no way I will do that. No.
No. Well, that's it. That's the thing. When I went into that courtroom, and this, when we went to the court thing, which we'll talk about, I know, it was the Royal High Court of Justice in London. It wasn't some small claims court or anything like that. It was intellectual property high court. And I'd never been in court in my life. I didn't know anything about these places. So the lawyer said to me, he says, "Oh, this is the room we're going to be in." He says, "Come on, I'll take you in and show you." So we went in. It was just me and the lawyer standing there. And he said, "This is where you'll sit. Then you'll be called, and that's the witness box over there, right? So that's where you'll go to give your evidence." There was 3 volumes of evidence. He says you'll be asked to pick up a volume and then turn to a specific page, blah, blah, blah. All of this can be read online now. His statement, my statement, Abaddon's statement, the whole thing. He says, but that's the way it'll go, right? He says, "I'll be sitting right here." He says, "I'll be right in front of you." He says, "Our side will be here." He says, "Lance side will be over there." And I was like, right, okay. He says, "Right, I'm going to go outside now." He says, "I'm going to talk to the barrister." He says, "Do you want to go outside, get a quick coffee or whatever?" I says, "No, I'll just stay in here," right? I was just standing there and Cronos walked in, right? As he walked past me, he glanced at me and he went, "Grass." Right? Now, I don't know if anybody's familiar with that word, but grass means informant. someone who tells the truth about a situation, an individual, or an action. Okay, so that's what he called me as he walked into the court, because I had seen his witness statement and just went, "What fucking planet did this happen on?" And that's why I agreed to get involved. It was fucking.
Abaddon, I interviewed Abaddon some months ago, and he mentioned that, but he didn't mention what Cronos said to you, man. And this is where this was the point when Abaddon said that you're done. You will never go back to Venom again, right?
No, that's it. I mean, there was a slim possibility. I mean, I actually got the call from a promoter who I've known. I'm not going to say who it is. Promoter who I've known for a long time. And I got this call, and it was simply, "How are you? What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm okay. I'm, music. I'm doing the Patreon thing. Da, 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 da. Next little message that came, "I've got a crazy idea." I wrote straight back going, "Haha, fucking Venom reunion. No fucking chance, mate." And then we started talking. He was like, "I'm sure we can do it. We can do it. I've got a good team. We can do it. Can you get into blah, blah, blah?" So I went, "Right, okay then." And by this time, the court case thing was beginning to happen, right? Now, again, on social media, I've read all these flying fucking monkeys saying, "Oh yeah, that was all planned before he left Venom Inc., him and Abaddon and all." It's like, no, it fucking wasn't. Speak to Abaddon. Abaddon had no intention of contacting me, and I had no intention of contacting him. We were done. That was it. I hadn't spoke to Abaddon since 2017.
Oh, man.
It was a mutual friend who called me and said, "Can you speak to Abaddon?" I was like, "Oh, why?" "Well, there's going to be a court case." I was like, "Oh, look, I don't want to get involved in this. I don't know what it's about." He says, "Well, it's about this." And I was like, "Right." He told us what it was about. And previous to that, a few months previous to that, I had seen something on the internet, and I looked at it and I thought, that's going to cause problems. Carry on, boys. And I just sat back. I was like, I'm not getting involved in that. Anyway, I did call Abaddon. He told me what it was all about. We spoke. We were very pleasant to each other. And he said, "Look, I'll put you in touch with the lawyer." I was like, "Right, okay." So I got in touch with the lawyer. The lawyer then told me what was being claimed from the other side. And that is when I decided to get involved, because I thought this cannot go on any longer. All this, I created this, I did this, I did this, I invented this, I invented that. It's like, no, you fucking didn't. You were the last person to join Venom. A lot of those songs were written before you joined the band. The logo was done before you joined the band. It's like, right, Welcome to Hell, the album. Look on the writing credits, Lant Dunn Bray. Yeah? No, not at all. Fucking Conrad Lant, Cronos, has got one full song on Welcome to Hell, and that is Sons of Satan. Music and lyrics. That's his. He's got the lyrics to Welcome to Hell. That's his. The rest, me.
Okay, so
all of it.
Let me say this. I don't want you to say something that may cause trouble in the court.
No.
Right? That's making sure that whatever we are saying here is not being, I don't know, violating anything. I don't even know, legally. The problem is this, though. As an outsider, can all these things be proven? I mean, back then, I doubt you kept any records at all.
No, of course we didn't.
Right?
No, I mean, there wasn't anything like that. You did. And back then, you've got to remember, when did we go in? 1980. I was 20 years old when I walked in there. Now, I mean, at 20 years old, you think, oh, well, he's 20. It's like, no, you don't know your fucking arse from your elbow at the age of 20, right? We were three young guys in a band, happy to be in a band and jamming. And that was it. And to us at that particular point, it didn't matter who wrote the songs or who did the drawings or whatever. It was one for all and all for one.
Correct.
You know, that kind of thing. And that's why everything went the three ways for the first two albums. But then when you get a bit wiser to the business and everything like that, it's like, you know, you think, wow, I wrote all that stuff and everybody else is still getting a share. I don't mind that, right? That's the songs, right? That is the songs. And at the end of the day, you put those songs out into the world and, you know, you're giving them to the people. Yes. Now, it doesn't matter. You've got a Venom t-shirt on there. It doesn't matter what your logo looks like. It doesn't matter how good your album cover is. It doesn't matter what your image is, how much leather you're wearing, or what guitar you're playing. If someone puts that album on and doesn't like the songs, you're done.
Yes, correct.
That's it. A band isn't about logos and t-shirts and stuff like that. It's about music. Mm-hmm. Why do you wear the t-shirt of a band? Because you like their music. It's as simple as that, right? Now, I'm not saying that Cronos didn't write anything. He wrote some phenomenal lyrics. And I've said this, you know, the lyrics to Manitou, I think they are stunning. The lyrics to Nightmare, amazing. You know, we came up with some great songs together in the later stages, you know, where we just bounced the ideas and some of it just happened. We didn't have to look for it, you know, but in the early days, I was right. And Welcome to Hell is my first attempt at writing songs. I hadn't written anything before that, not a thing. And I've said for years now, when being interviewed about it, it's like all I had in my musical toolbox. When I opened my musical toolbox, there was a power chord in that drawer, and there was the first position of the pentatonic scale in that drawer. That was it. I knew nothing else. I had no idea what a fucking flattened fifth was, a fucking mode, a fucking whatever. I had no idea, right? So I did the best with what I had. But you know, this all came about, like I said, the court case thing, and then I got this thing about the original lineup coming together, and I was like, it's not going to happen, but I'll try, which I did. Never got any response. Which I'm not bothered about. You know, that spoke volumes to me. It was like, right, okay, I'm not bothered. Then the court case happened. Now, in the meantime, in 2023, I had been to Japan and I had been on stage with some Japanese musicians just playing Venom songs. I got invited over to do it. I was like, oh, yeah, it sounds cool. You know, I mean, like, it's Cy, Abigail, and, you know, all those black metal musicians. We had a great time, you know. It's a tiny little club, packed out. Everybody had a great time. Played the Venom songs. And, you know, I stayed on for a few days and I went out for dinner with the organizers and they said to me, would you like to make this an annual thing? And I was like, I would love to, because I love Japan. Everybody knows that I love Japan. So anyway, I was supposed to do it in 2024. Heart attack, didn't do it. So this year they got back in touch at the beginning of this year, and it was like, oh, how's your health and how's this and blah blah blah. Oh, would you like to do it this year? And I was like, well, I need to get checked over by the cardiologists, you know, for traveling and things like that. So yeah, and the first thing I did was I went to the Menacing Metal Festival in France, and I got up with Necrodeath and Witches, played a couple of Venom tracks. That was the first test of like traveling and, you know, getting on stage again. So I thought, yeah. So it was all organized. The flights are booked. Everything's done now for it. I've got to go and collect my visa on the 27th of this month from the embassy. But I had said to them at that point, and I hadn't spoke to Abaddon about this at all. I just said, what if Abaddon came with me? And they were like, really?
Of course, man. What would they say?
I said, yeah, I'll ask him. I says, I don't know if he's busy or whatever, but I will ask. And they went, oh, well, you know, he could play the encore. So he's only doing 3 songs on the encore, but he's going to be there. So, you know, obviously it's a bit of a PR exercise for us both as well. And then, so I asked him, he said, yeah. And then I spoke to the organizers again, and it was the Keep It True Festival, obviously. And I says, look, the original lineup, forget it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And then I said, how about if we did a celebration of Welcome to Hell and the early Venom songs, and we get guests to come in and sing, you know, people who have been influenced by the band, people who love the band. I says, we can be on stage and talk about the band, we can do the show, everything like that. And they were like, great idea, great. So we started contacting all the guests and everything. It's all come together now. We're still contacting people to come along and do it. So that is going to be the first big celebration next year of the 45th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And just because that has now been announced, we are now getting other offers, which we are.
That that is my follow-up, because you said this is the first show. So what do you mean about that? Is there any chance to do more? Is there any chance to bring this to the US?
We've been contacted. I can only say that we've been contacted by a lot of people, and we've been offered quite a few things, which we're looking at now. Obviously, the logistics for getting the guests together is probably going to be the hardest thing.
Yes. So you were saying about the logistics, yeah. Of course, and I asked you about the US.
Yeah, well, I mean, the US is getting very difficult for visas now.
Correct.
Very difficult. It's always been a pain in the ass for that. But, you know, I've been going to the US since 1983 to play shows, and still got to fill in vast quantities of, you know, questions and this and that. I mean, I'm even 10 printed by the FBI and everything, like, you know, and as soon as I walk into immigration, the camera picks me up. You know, the last time I was in there, the guy actually he wasn't even looking at me. He was doing something on his computer. I walked up, stood in front of the camera, and he went, "Hello, Jeffrey, back again." And I was like, you know. So, you know, it's not like I'm not known, but, you know, it's like the cost of the visas now.
You said you have more offers coming,
mm-hmm.
and there are not many things that you can, of course, announce. My follow-up question to this is...
No, not yet.
Okay. My follow-up question to this, have you and Abaddon considered writing new music?
No. That I think... it's at the end of the day, does the world need a new Venom album? You know, and it's like, you know, I remember reading an interview with Paul Stanley where he even said, "I'll never write another Kiss song," you know, because, you know, as good as some of the 80s Kiss material was, you know, everybody still wants to hear Black Diamond and Cold Gin and Strutter and Come On and Love Me and all, you know, all that stuff. And I'm the same, you know, with, you know, like Judas Priest. You know, it's Firepower, great album. You know, Invincible Shield, great album. But if I go to see Priest now and they kick into the Ripper, you know, game over. It's like, I'm happy. And, you know, I know that's a sort of nostalgic way of looking at it, but if we are doing a celebration of this band, and I'm not even naming it. I'm not saying it's Mantas and Abaddon's Venom. I'm not saying it's Venom featuring Mantas and Abaddon. You make your own decisions, what you want. Abaddon's got his logo back. He can put the logo up there. The name Mantas and Abaddon's underneath it. Call it what the hell you want to call it. All I'm saying is it's a celebration of the music that we wrote 45 years ago. That's all it is, you know. And you've got the two original members in there doing it as well. So new music, I don't know. I'm not adverse to maybe getting one song together or something like that, but, you know, do people really want to hear it? It's like, let's have a vote, you know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
It will be, honestly, personally speaking, it will be great to hear new music from you guys. And especially, you have been active you write new stuff. It cannot. You don't write specifically Venom style music, but you keep writing music, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, it's nice to. It has been nice to kick back into sort of doing like Venom stuff. I've always said what you've got to remember with the Venom music is when I wrote those songs, that it was, like you say, it was 45, probably 46 or 47 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and at that point, I had no knowledge of anything. There was no Pro Tools, Cubase, Logic. There wasn't even a fucking computer around, you know?
No.
So it was all me with my guitar, not even plugged into an amp, in front of my father's cassette recorder, just knocking out riffs. And then, you know, there was no rewrites. There was no chance to rearrange. You couldn't look on a screen and go, oh, does the green bit fit with the orange bit? Or should we turn it around or whatever, you know? There was none of that. It was like, I can remember Sunday morning, probably 1980, walking into this horrible rat-infested shithole of a rehearsal place on Newcastle's dockside, very excited because I had a new song, and it was Witching Hour, you know? And that was the first time I took that song in, you know, and I had wrote it. And everything came together in, you know, minutes back then. It was like, oh, that's a good riff. If I wrote the riff to Witching Hour now, I'd probably throw it in the bin, you know, because you get too crammed with the technical aspects and with, you know, like, oh, it's too basic, it's too this. And, you know, I've said for a long time, it would be nice to get back to that simplicity and naivety that I had.
There is
and
no
just
way. Yeah.
write the songs like that, you know. So, you know, musicians evolve, you know, hopefully they evolve, you know, your playing gets a little bit better. Technology obviously has gotten better over the years, you know, everything I record now is in the digital realm. But I mean, you know, I've told this story a million times. Black metal, that riff. I was sitting taking a dump one day and I had the fucking guitar with me. That is as true as I'm sitting here. That's how that riff happened, you know. I was in the toilet in the morning doing the morning duties, and I was just sitting playing my guitar, and the riff to black metal happened, and that is true. Yeah. So
you know what?
That's where that came from.
What is extremely difficult these days is to write simple songs, right? When I say simple songs, it's the simple songs are the ones that have stuck with us. We will never forget black metal, right?
Oh, absolutely. No. It's you're absolutely right. It's like you can listen to as much Yngwie Malmsteen or Opeth or fucking any of these technical bands or whatever, which are, you know, they're very clever, they're very good musicians, all that kind of stuff, blah, 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 blah. But you will never be Angus Young at the front of a stage in Rio playing in front of 200,000 people, hitting an A, a G, and a D, playing Highway to Hell.
Right. That is no
and
way.
That's, I mean, fucking hell. When I did rock school, Highway to Hell was one of the songs we used to teach kids who had never picked up a guitar before in their life. We used to teach them Highway to Hell. You know? And it's been proven time and time again, you don't need to be a virtuoso to write classic fucking songs.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm not a Beatles fan, but none of the Beatles were virtuoso musicians. But, you know, the songs have lasted an eternity. You know, Paul Stanley is a damn fine rhythm player. He's an okay lead player. He's not a virtuoso in the manner of Yngwie or Steve Vai or anybody like that. But look at the rock anthems that man has wrote over the years.
Yes.
You know? And it's the same with Angus Young. You know, Angus Young, I remember an interview with him. He was like, I'm just fucking Chuck Berry. I'm a blues player. And, you know, that's him. You know, he's very, very bluesy. Same with Gary Moore. blues players, you know. Even Zakk Wylde, predominantly, he's a blues man. I remember we said it ages ago. That's it. What more? I can go onto YouTube right now and search out some fucking 12-year-old guitarist in the middle of fucking nowhere who could fucking smoke the shit out of me and bury me. Yeah, but he's never going to write Countess Bathory, is he?
No.
It's like, you know, so, you know, and that's what I always used to say to the kids as well. It's like, yeah, you want to be fast, you want to do all this kind of stuff, you know, but people react to songs. Songs move you physically and emotionally. Songs transport you back to a period where you were happy or sad, whatever, you know, and songs are the things. And you know, you get a rock band with a hit song, but it's got to be taken from 4 minutes to 3 minutes for radio play.
Right.
What's the first thing they take out? The guitar solo. Because they're not going to take out the chorus, because the most important part of any rock song, vocals. Doesn't matter how good your guitarist is, it's the vocals, it's the hook lines, it's what you want to sing along to, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's the thing with Venom as well. I did an interview a while ago where they said, you know, you always had melody, hook lines, and sing-along choruses and stuff like that. But that's where I come from. I come from Kiss and, you know, Judas Priest, you know, it's all that. And that's what I like about something like Priest. They can rip your face off with Painkiller. You know, live, it's like, fucking hell. And then as soon as that song finishes, it can kick into fucking Living After Midnight and everybody's singing along. You know?
Yes. I'm laughing because I saw Priest almost a month ago, and it was exactly like you just described.
Yeah. Well, that's it, you know? And that's... And like I say, there's a lot of these bands that are out today. Sometimes I think, oh, you're just being heavy for the sake of being heavy. You know, it's like, but it's got its niche, and there are people out there who are loving it, and that's great. That's absolutely fine. That's great. And my opinion doesn't make me right and everybody else wrong. You know, it's like I can appreciate that. I mean, somebody like Slaughter to Prevail. It's like, fucking hell, how heavy are you motherfuckers? It's like, wow. And what have you got for a throat, you crazy man? It's like, you know, and I've listened to some of their stuff and fucking hell, it's like so fucking heavy, you know? But it for me as a 64-year-old musician, it's a bit tiring now.
So, do you have in mind, because you have released reimagined versions of Venom songs, of classic Venom songs. First of all, are you going ever to release those in physical format as a vinyl through your Patreon page?
Yeah, well, the thing was, I just started doing them for the Patreon thing.
Yeah,
and I was doing one a month. I still am. I'm doing one a month. There's another one to go up on Facebook. I've just done Seven Gates of Hell. And Countess Bathory waiting to go as well. And as they were progressing, I was getting a lot of messages and, you know, a few comments and things saying exactly what you've just said. Is this going to be an album?
Right.
You know, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I thought to myself, well, hold on. Cronos did this Cronos Venom thing back in 1996, like a bit of a tribute album thing. Abaddon did In Memoriam and In the Name of Satan. There was 2 tribute albums there. And I thought, you know what it is? I've never done anything like that. So I thought, yeah, why not? So there's no plans for release or anything yet. I think I've got 10 songs together now. I'd like to get at least 15, 15 of the Venom songs, get them recorded. And then, let's do a vinyl and just a limited run vinyl and put it out. Yep. So that's what my thought is for next year, especially with it being an anniversary as well. So I thought, yeah, why not? That would be my little thing to do. So I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Awesome. And one more question. Abaddon released a book, right? His autobiography. Have you ever considered doing that?
Oh, there's been a one in progress for years now. I've actually wrote, oh God, I can't remember how many chapters now. There's quite a few chapters done. But it is a big undertaking when you're doing it yourself. You
Oh,
know, I thought, do I want a ghostwriter in to do it for me? Do I just want to be interviewed and then have someone write it? And I thought, well, if I do it that way, that's fair enough, you know. But I thought if I write it the way I speak and talk to people, it's going to be more personal.
I agree.
So, because I know what I'm like, you've probably seen during this interview, you know, I'll start talking about something, then I'll go off on something else, and then something else will come in, you know? And then I'll eventually get round to the original question.
Correct.
And that's the way I've written. That's the way I've written the book. So the book is written like that. It's not in chronological order or anything at all. There may be a few photographs in, but I think, you know, I think just about every Venom photograph's been seen now. I've still got a few personal ones, I suppose, that haven't been seen, but there might be a couple of those go in. But the book, my book, it's literally my journey from birth to where I am now. There's a full chapter that I've done about April the 30th, 2018, which is when I had the heart attack. And that was the hardest one to write. That was the hardest one to write. It was, but you know, there's all kinds of things. There is a good chapter in there, which is called Legions, Iron and Steel. And you can put this call out because there's plenty of time to do it. It's a chapter written entirely by the fans. There's no editing. There's nothing. It's like all the fans' stories of how they discovered Venom, what Venom means to them. If we fucked up, if they don't like us anymore, I don't care. It's all going to go in there. You know, so if you want to submit or anybody wants to submit to this, it's just mantasbook@gmail.com. And you can send your story in as long or as short as you want. And we'll put it into the book. But that's a chapter within the book written by the fans. And that's it.
That's a great idea.
It's not getting edited, corrected or anything. So if you spell anything wrong, it goes in. Yeah,
That's a great idea.
I've had some amazing stories. That's some amazing stories, you know, from people meeting their life partners to military conflict.
Oh man, I will put something together. I promise that.
So I'm looking forward to that.
That's a great idea,
yeah,
and I will start writing something about that. I promise. Mantas,
excellent.
It has been such a pleasure. Please stay healthy. Take care of yourself. Take care of your wife. Take care of the cats. Most importantly.
Oh yeah. Yes, I will. Don't worry about that.
I will. I will stick to your what you said about doing more shows than the Keep It True, because it's may not be easy for me to go to Germany this year. So hopefully I will see you and Abaddon again soon in this side of the pond. Okay.
We'll try. We'll do our very best. We'll do our very best. Yeah.
Take it easy and have a wonderful rest of your day, man. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Okay. Bye.